Greetings from Yosemite Falls. On this spot, John Muir built a sugar pine cabin in 1869 and made it his home for 2 years. He famously said, "The mountains are calling and I must go." I gotta tell you, I could live here for 2 years, not more. Right here on this spot. Our meditation today is on calling and vocation. Our God is a pretty wild God. Sometimes the call that God offers us is indeed to mountains. I think of the story of the Transfiguration with Jesus and his 3 disciples as they went up the mountain and they encountered not only Moses and Elijah, but Jesus in a new way. He was transfigured before their eyes in dazzling array, and Peter thought, well, we should live here. Jesus had called them to the mountain. Jesus himself was called to the mountain. But their call wasn't to stay there. Their wild call was to come back down. Jesus didn't permit them to build houses there. As I sit here watching these wild waterfalls tumbling down this mountain face, I'm thinking about vocation, I'm thinking about call. How wild a thing it is to be called anywhere, and how hard it can be to hear God's call. In fact, this is the first moment of quiet I've had so far in Yosemite. There are a lot of people here. Although my brother birds are here as well, as you can hear. And in this moment of silence, we are thinking and hearing God's call together. It's not always easy to hear God's call. We don't always know where God is leading us or even how to hear it. The call, that is. And when we're contemplating our call, we have to be able to hear the still, small voice calling us. It's not always the sound of a mountain. Sometimes it's the still, small voice. I find, and this is kind of a good place to practice this, I find that sometimes all the distractions of the world, like maybe some external voices, can get in the way of you hearing your call. Sometimes the Holy Spirit has to break through a lot to get into our hearts, our ears, our soul. And this is why we have to do things to kind of break ourselves out of this pattern. It's kind of like we need rest and recreation in equal measure in order to hear our call. Rest and recreation. We need to be able to be quiet enough and restful enough that we are able to not just hear the frenzied pounding of our heart, metaphorical or literally. We need recreation, we need play enough, we need to be in nature, we need to be in our places of open and expansiveness to be able to understand and hear this great call. We need to be able to feel in our very being, what is it and who is it that's calling us and to where? If you feel as though you have had a hard time discerning your call, you are not alone. Very few of us are John Muir who hear the call of the mountains and then go. And if you are, fantastic. Do it. More often for many of us, we're struggling to hear. We're struggling to hear. But what is something you can do today that helps you tune in? What is something that you can do today to help hear the call?